here in their community. Every time vehicles come and go, it prompts this crowd to get a little bit more agitated, shout a little bit louder, protest a little bit harder. And then just beyond here, just beyond the fence line, I'm not sure exactly how far zoomed in John is right now, but there are some federal police who are standing up there. There have also been, it looked to me to be Border Patrol, DHS police. DHS police as well in fatigues. I mean, looking nearly indistinguishable from soldiers out here. I want to give you a little bit of lay of the land before we dive into this crowd, before we start doing interviews, before we start to see some of the scenes play out here, which we're anticipating could be similar to yesterday, where these members of the Department of Homeland Security were freely pushing protesters to the ground, using tear gas, using pepper spray as ways to forcibly move and inflict pain on this crowd, in the wake, of course, of an ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, shooting and killing a member of their community, which has enraged many of these protesters and inspired them into action to protest even harder than they had been already during Operation Metro Surge that the Department of Homeland Security has been undertaking here in the Twin Cities area, where they surged the number of protesters here in the Twin Cities area back in December. We were on the ground for weeks during that period. We went home briefly for Christmas. We came back, and we were here on the ground and at the scene very shortly after that murder took place on the south side of Minneapolis. And now we have been out here at these protests outside of the Whipple Federal Building, where these protesters have been directly challenging ICE agents in terms of other law enforcement presence. As of right now, not a ton that's visible just standing here in terms of local police, county sheriff, etc. But Governor Tim Walz did put the Minnesota National Guard on standby to come in and help local police if needed. We have not yet seen a National Guard presence, and you just see now another vehicle leaving from the Whipple Federal Building. Every vehicle that comes and goes from this entrance here to the Federal Building, and there are multiple entrances to it, is being challenged directly by these protesters. So to give you a lay of the land, obviously that is the Whipple Federal Building back there. Then we have a full parking lot across from that comes right up here to the road. You see that fence line there marking the boundary of that parking lot. And then you have this street here where the protesters have gathered. We're going to talk a little bit more about the street and the boundaries there in just a second, but you'll notice that all of the protesters are standing in the street, just about. There are a few who are with us here on what I suppose would be the grass underneath our feet, except, John, if you could just kind of pan around and just show the sheen. This is glare ice that is up here, and John is slipping right now at the camera, and I'm going to reach out and grab him and stabilize him so he doesn't fall over. But that's how slick it is. It is glare ice where we are standing right now. We are slipping and sliding to be able to show you this. And there's a reason that we're showing you this, what it's like right here on the ground, because the protesters aren't necessarily against standing here to protest as well. It has more to do with the fact that they're not able to because it is so iced over. Now, what I'll say is that it did rain last night. It got warm enough that rain was able to fall. That rain would have frozen overnight, creating some of these icy conditions. However, what the protesters are claiming is that it was federal agents who actually flooded this area overnight to allow it to ice over. We don't have any direct proof of that, but what I will point out is that this is not the only sidewalk stretch here in this area. There's sidewalks on the other side of the street. There are sidewalks down that way, sidewalks back behind me here, all of which are mostly clear. Don't get me wrong, there are some slick spots where there is some ice that is formed, but not a hockey rink like what we see out here, a thick layer of ice across the sidewalks, not just a little sheen of rain that froze over, but a thick layer of ice. The other thing that I want to point out here is these concrete barriers. John, I won't make you move very far since it is so slippery out here, but you see this lineup of concrete barriers. These were just put here this morning. John and I have been out here a couple of times already today as we've been keeping an eye on these protests to see how they develop, and we watched some of these concrete barriers be trucked in. And this is very reminiscent of the scene in Broadview, Illinois, just outside Chicago, where we were on the ground for 2 months. And really, this seems to be a federal effort to put up these barricades, but the protesters were trying to challenge the placement of these barricades because they feel that, much like in Broadview, Illinois, that these barricades are going to be created to pen in protesters so that they cannot do what they are doing now, which is going out into the street and directly challenging the federal agents across the way there. They don't want to be corralled in these spaces, so they tried to challenge the placement of those barricades, but many of them have gone up nonetheless. And that is part of a pattern that we are noticing, the way that so much of what we are seeing happen on the ground here in Minnesota is so similar to what we have seen happen on the ground in other American cities that have been directly targeted by the Trump administration with these immigration crackdowns, with the pain that is being inflicted on these communities. We're seeing these same patterns, not only here with the concrete barricades, but also with Renee Good's killing in Chicago. So, an ICE agent shot and killed a man in Chicago, and a Border Patrol agent shot another woman 5 times. She thankfully survived, but that cycle of violence is now repeating here in Minneapolis. Many of the tactics that the community is using to push back, forming signal groups, etc., as our camera itself slips there on the ice. I'm going to get us off the ice here in just a second because of that. But those same tactics are now repeating themselves. In the Chicago area, it was the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility that became the site of near continuous protest activity, because that is where ICE was staging, or immigration enforcement agents were staging many of their operations in the Chicago area. And now the same thing happening here at the Whipple Federal Building just outside of Minneapolis in Fort Snelling. So right now you're hearing chanting coming from the protesters. I want to give you one last piece of lay of the land here, John, if we can, ever so gingerly and slowly, slip and slide our way back down onto the asphalt where we can get maybe a better grip on the ground here. And you'll have to bear with us here, folks, because I don't want to rush John as he slides down there, and helped by a number of people. Yeah, some of the experienced Minnesotans here are telling us that they've got cleats actually on the ice spikes on the bottoms of their boots to be able to handle these conditions. So they are prepared. But there's one thing I want to show you here, John. I want to show the yellow stripe on the road. You'll see here, and this is a great time to show it, that there is, John, if you want to just turn the camera around, you see this yellow stripe here on the road, and you can almost see that the protesters are walking, with some exceptions who are now on the other side of it. Most of the protesters staying here to the right side of the road, behind that yellow line. That is for a very specific reason. Those federal police that are inside that building have come out and directly told the crowd that this is the line in the sand, that crossing this will merit a response from the federal agents beyond. So on occasion, you will see the protesters doing what they are doing right now, which is stepping over this line, walking up towards that fence line, and shouting directly in challenges to the federal agents beyond, the way they are right now. Earlier, we listened to a man shout at the federal agents, who are right now, it looks like, waiting in their cars. They've been using cars to stay out of the cold, challenging those agents to come out, be in the cold directly along with the protesters. So that's what we're going to watch here. And John, there's a vehicle coming here. We're going to watch this vehicle come in here. It's still an active roadway, so you see plenty of people who are not federal agents using it, but you also see many federal agents also using the road. And you see you think the protesters think that they have identified an ICE agent, they're saying, and yep, it is somebody who has a face mask on inside that vehicle. So one protester there just throw like a cold cut deli meat of some kind at the vehicle.
Immigrants are welcome here.
You're hearing protesters shout right now, say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here. John's giving the whole lay of the land here of the crowd. We'll be going in here and interviewing many of these people in just a moment. I just wanted to start with just really giving you the sense of space here before it got chaotic, if it was going to.
Your mother shall swallow. I don't want to see the response. Your mother shall swallow. You hurt one of us. Injure one, injure all. 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 Hey, hey, we. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow. You should have been aborted. You should have been aborted. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow.
I should also say before we dive in here to the interviews, I do want to. We do have to pay the bills here around here at Status Quo because it costs us $10,000 or more a month to be on the ground in these communities the way we have been for the last many months, covering the Trump administration's immigration crackdown on so many communities here in this country. Being in Chicago, in Charlotte, in L.A., in Minneapolis now costs us a lot. If you value being able to get this on-the-ground perspective of what it's actually like in these communities, not just the propaganda that is being pumped out by the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security, go to statusquo.com/join for as low as $5 a month. You go to support our operation. Go to keep us editorially independent, one, and two, well-funded and on the ground here in Minneapolis so that we can continue to tell these stories. We were here long before the murder of Renee Good. We will continue to follow the fallout afterwards. We don't just parachute in, tell one story, and leave. There's a lot of press that showed up here just today. I will note, just yesterday, today, we have been sustained on the ground here. We want to continue to be able to do that. So please, statusquo.com/join, $5 a month. That's as low as 16 cents a day to support independent journalism. And if you're not able to support us financially, the other thing you can do, like this stream, share it out. It really does a lot to indicate to the algorithms that this is something inherently valuable that needs to be shared with more people. Yeah, we're going to walk up here to the fence line a little bit closer just to be able to show you some of those security agents who are inside there. You can see them there in the fatigues, camouflage that many of them are wearing. Some outfitted like more traditional police, though, with like the combat helmet and riot shield get up, but others with the full face mask, the full camouflage. We saw them when they were out earlier directly confronting the crowd for a moment. Yeah, we're seeing agents move around pretty quickly right now, trying to get a sense for what they're doing. Looks like they are moving the vehicles. Yeah, something's going on with the vehicles. Yeah, we're seeing the vehicles peeling around, moving very quickly. Not sure exactly where they're going or why. But, yeah, we were just looking at those agents to describe exactly how they would look, so you got a sense for the scene there, and then all of a sudden, boom, something switched, and they took off, moving very quickly. Many are still staying out here to provide security for the crowd, I'll point out, but at least looking, it looks like many of them drove back towards the Whipple Federal Building, further back in the parking lot. Seems like maybe I'm just seeing some more movement of vehicles that are coming. Yeah. Right now, John is working the phones at the same time that he's operating this live to try and get more information about what might be happening out in the community while we're here reporting live. So that just goes to show the way that we try and really multitask and really punch above our weight here at Status Quo. to be able to be out in these communities, to bring you multiple stories at the same time. We're getting information on the phone right now. That's what John's doing, in addition to filming me, and I'm trying to just give you the scenes and the bullet points and talk through everything that's happening while he's doing that. All the while, keeping our heads on the swivel to try and remain safe, because obviously when you see the federal agents act with that sort of urgency, makes you a little nervous, even just as a journalist here to cover things. You know, we're journalists, we're here to just do a job, but that doesn't mean that we don't get hit with the same cloud of tear gas that all the protesters do. That's why we've got, John and I both have respirators, we've got goggles to protect our eyes. I've also got a helmet here hanging at my side, try and offer as much protection to ourselves as we can, while still getting the story for you. We don't shy away just because, you know, things get a little excited, a little hairy. Saw that in the multi-hour stream that John did yesterday here from the Whipple Federal Building. Still looking, I'm seeing like some more movement here in the parking lot, but it looks right now that that's just like semi-truck traffic moving some materials in. More of the concrete barricades that we showed you that were set up just across the street. Seems like they're just moving some more of those in right now. They've got the little crane truck that they use to lift them up off of a flatbed and place them down. That's what's moving in there right now. But these protesters are now feeling a lot more confident to be able to walk across the line, many of them, because they're not getting that direct pushback. And in fact, you're seeing many more now moving across the road, moving across that yellow line that they've been told by federal agents, moving right up to the fence line. And this is a pattern that we've seen play out. They move right up to the fence line, challenge. They do that until the federal agents start to approach, and then they move back. And this is the push and pull that happens out here. We will not quit. Would you mind if I interviewed you? Sounds 2, online independent progressive outlet. Yeah. What's your name, man?
Michael.
Michael, nice to meet you. I'm JT. This is my cameraman, John. Hi. So, Michael, can you explain for people who aren't here right now, why is it important to be able to protest, right outside of the Whipple building? Why is this the place where you want to make your voice heard?
There are only so many places in this city where you can track these folks down. I think it's important for Minneapolis as a city to show who we are, and if we can do that in numbers like places like this, that's why this is important. They're going to keep us back with barricades like those that they're setting up right now because they have no defense other than physical force and cement to explain their actions. But we as a community need to be here to show them, to point out to these agents that they're not helping us. They are not keeping us safe right now.
Yeah, Michael's pointing out some concrete barricades brought in on those trucks that I was just describing to you, and those concrete barricades that we just showed you a minute ago that are on the other side of the street where we are. As I walked up on you, I interrupted you. You were putting on your face mask. Why'd you feel like now was the time to put on the goggles?
Well, they have some ideas about where we are and aren't supposed to be, and I think they don't think I'm supposed to be where I am right now. So,
why is it important for you to challenge their idea of where you should and should not be allowed to protest?
Trying to find good trouble.
Sorry?
Trying to find some good trouble.
Trying to find some good trouble. I assume put some sand in the machine a little bit here, try to get the Trump administration to expend some resources here on this crowd rather than on continuing to abduct people out of the community as well?
You know, for me, I don't think we're going to beat the Trump administration. I really don't. I think the Trump administration has more guns than we ever will. But I do think that maybe we can get to the minds and the psyches of some of these people that are working for them as individuals, make them look at that video, make them realize they are not making our community safe. They should know in their hearts government is here to keep us safe, and that's not what they're doing. And they just need to see that from all of us here.
Michael, can you give us a little bit of your Twin Cities area, bona fides, whereabouts do you live? How long have you called this place home?
I've lived in the Twin Cities for about 15 years. I know the communities like South Minneapolis, where that shooting occurred, are some of the worst places in this country to display that kind of violence, and I know that we are going to fight back against it.
When you saw the video of Renee Good being murdered by the Trump administration, what were the first emotions that you felt?
For me, I think I personally believe it's important to know what happened, to know the facts. And so while I was initially outraged when I heard something happened, I tried to keep my calm. I tried to wait. I knew there'd be videos. It's 2026. I found the videos. It was clear to me what happened. I don't understand why there's any ambiguity there. Some of our leaders are saying they don't know, and it's too bad that that's the process that we have, that they need to couch their language like that. The New York Times has done analysis of the videos from multiple angles. They are sure that vehicle was not causing harm to that agent who applied lethal force and murdered one of my community members.
We're now 2 days removed from that killing. In that time, how has your feelings changed, if at all? How has time, perspective, has it changed the way you feel about what has happened or what your response needs to be?
Yeah, I do have to think about that every day. I was out, obviously, the day that it happened. The challenge is asking myself, am I going to keep coming out every day, and for how long, right? And yeah, I think that I woke up this morning and I was like, if I'm not out here, I'm part of the problem. I had to reflect, and the answer was I can't just let them keep doing what they're doing. So yeah, it did. Time has let me settle with it, but the answer is very clear to me that we can't give up.
Where does this end? Just yesterday, a border patrol shot 2 more people in Portland. Where do you see this going in the short term? How do you see us pulling out of this spiral, if we even can? Yeah, I agree. It's a very volatile situation right now. I think if there are any major missteps on either side of these lines, we could find ourselves in a very dangerous place. And yeah, sorry, I don't remember the rest of the question. No, I think you kind of answered it there. I guess maybe the only thing I would prompt you on a little bit more is just, do you see any way out of this? Oh, we're seeing more Border Patrol. Michael, thank you very much for talking to me. I'll let you go since we need to keep you safe as well.
Oh, boy.
You see here the federal law enforcement now making their way across the parking lot. This is how it goes. The protesters will cross that line of the middle of the road. Stand out here, hearing some loud bangs. Hearing some loud bangs. It sounded like they were firing some pepper balls, maybe just at the ground there for a moment. But again, you see the federal law enforcement there just moving out, coming out here under the grass. You see them here clearing off the grass, and the protesters moving back now. Moving back to that yellow line, moving back across the yellow line to the middle of the road. They're shooting pepper balls just shy of the crowd right now.
John and I have put our masks on.
Shame on you, you traitorous scum! Shame! Shame on you! How you gonna shoot little old ladies with pepper balls? You fucking coward! You couldn't join the Marines! Why don't you join the Marines? You fucking pussy little bitches! Shame on you! Look at you! What are you doing? What are you doing? Shame! Fuck you!
Yeah, the pepper is thick in the air right now. Because John and I didn't have our masks on immediately, and the pepper ball sent up a puff of pepper into the air. We got a good lungful before we were able to get our masks even tentatively secured the way mine is. I'm just holding mine up over my face right now. John's resecuring his protective equipment as well, just as we readjust. But now, having been able to take a few deep, clean breaths through my respirator, I'm feeling better. And you see some of these protesters on the right after initially being cowed by the pepper balls, they're coming right back out to shout. I'll let you listen in.
Constitution, you just pepperballed a combat infantry veteran for my First Amendment right, for practicing our constitutional right. You are traitors. Every one of you is a traitor. Fuck you, Nazis. Fuck you, you traitorous fat fucking piece of shit. Shame on you, you traitors. Every single one of you is a traitor to the Republic. Every single one of you is a traitor to the Constitution. Did you not swear an oath to the Constitution, or do you fucking Nazis not do that? There's a reason you're wearing masks, you cowardly little bitches. Fuck you. Fuck you, you Nazis. Fuck you for your betrayal of the people of America. We all hate you. America hates you, cowards. Shame. Shame on you, you fucking Nazi scum. Why did I fight Al-Qaeda for you to fucking destroy our country? Osama bin Laden won because of you. Because of you. Look at this fucking pudgy little bitch with an M4 for an unarmed fucking crowd. Fuck you, you Nazi. Fuck you, you shitbags. You are all shitbags. Fuck you, you bag of dicks. You are such scumbag fucking assholes. Fuck you, Nazis. Go back to your fucking homes. Go back to your loved ones and stop raping the people.
Quit your job. 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 Quit your job.
Are you afraid to swing a hammer like the Latinos you have from Johnson? You cowardly little bitches!
Quit your job. Quit your job. Quit your job. Quit your job.
Y'all are just a bunch of white-slave, white-ass cowards!
We have been reporting across this first year plus now of the Trump administration on the ramp up in ICE activities that included the establishment of Alligator Alcatraz, a concentration camp in the United States of America built for the sole purpose of harming as many people as they could, separating as many families as possible, and tearing apart communities. We documented ICE raids in New York, the occupation of Washington, D.C., raids in L.A. 2 months we were on the ground near continuously in Chicago. We followed Border Patrol to Charlotte, where they threatened our cameraman John Farina with arrest for attempting to document what Border Patrol was doing in that city. And now, since the beginning of December, we have been on the ground here in Minneapolis and in St. Paul to lift up the voices of people here and hear from them themselves about how they feel about the Trump administration's immigration enforcement policy. And I think this noise and the hundreds of people who are here speak for themselves just in that visual and in that sound. But we will be going into this crowd to hear from them tonight. Before we do, I have to say that to do this on-the-ground reporting, where John and I are away from our families for days, weeks, months at a time, it costs a lot of money to status quo. And it's not something, this kind of reporting is not something that the social media algorithms just reward on their own. So if you can, a huge help would be to like this stream, share it, to spread it to as many people as possible, to get the word out about what is happening here on the ground in the Twin Cities. Because otherwise, Trump administration, the right-wing media machine, is attempting to drown out these voices with a river, a sea, a flood of misinformation. We saw it play out today with the release of more video from the murder of Renee Good, where the vice president nearly instantly, as soon as that video was released, was commenting on it, boosting it, trying to make it seem as though the Trump administration was somehow exonerated, when in the opinions of many, it only served as further damning truth that an American citizen was murdered at the hands of immigration enforcement agents. So please, like, share this stream, get it out to as many people as possible. If you are able, the next best thing you can do to support lifting up truth in this time, supporting the shoe leather, on-the-ground journalism that we are doing, is going to statusquo.com/join for as low as $5 a month or 16 cents a day. You go to keep us here on the ground, where we need to afford hotels, travel, food for while we are here, as we report from dawn to dusk on what it is like to be in these communities day after day, week after week. We don't parachute in, tell a story, and then leave. We stay in these communities, embedded for weeks, months at a time. So statusquo.com/join is the best way that you can go about supporting us and helping keep us here on the ground. Some developments from today that I want to cover very quickly. First is that announcement of that independent investigation from the state of Minnesota, the local district attorney's office, attempting to hold the Trump administration accountable for what happened here to Renee Nicole Good, so that it is not just the FBI or ostensibly the federal government investigating itself, or if the federal government did any wrongdoing, but an outside party actually doing an investigation. And the second piece of news was a release of video that was filmed by the agent Jonathan Ross, who shot and killed Renee Nicole Good. Release of cell phone video that agent was taking at the time, where after he shot and killed her, the first words he said were, I apologize for the language, but it was, quote unquote, fucking bitch. With that, I want to go into this crowd. I want to hear from some of the people in here tonight, in their own words, express how the Twin Cities are feeling, the message that they are hoping to deliver, and their reaction to the shocking events of the last 2 days. So, John, go ahead and make our way here into the crowd. And perhaps, John, you could start with just lifting up the camera, showing the people here how many hundreds of people are out here tonight. I'll note that there is, in terms of noise, I'm seeing a tuba, a gong, people banging pots and pans, and lifting up their own voices, anything to create a noise right now outside of Canopy by Hilton.
The way you are right now. So could you just walk me through the sign that you're holding and why you felt the need to be out here tonight?
Well, mostly I put leave now because I couldn't make state indictment because I do not trust the federal government to actually
cameraman John as soon as I can get his attention. Got somebody. What's your name? Sierra. All right, I am standing here with Sierra. Sierra, can I have you just start by spelling that for us, please?
Sierra.
And I'll note that it is so loud. We're not even really in the crowd yet. We're just standing on the very edges of it. It's so loud that Sierra and I are screaming just to be able to hear each other and putting our ears down by each other's mouths. So hopefully you can hear us on the mic more clearly than we can hear each other. But Sierra, why did you want to be out here tonight?
I can't even put into words, to be honest. Morals, human ethics, everything that this administration has not stood for, and it has infuriated me. And to be frank, we're in Germany again, and I'm not going to let it happen again. And we're powerful in numbers, I guess, probably. We're more powerful in numbers, so that would be I can't even put everything into words because I'm so...
That power in numbers that you're talking about, are you feeling it here in this crowd?
Yeah, it makes me really proud to be from Minnesota, Minneapolis especially, because we come together. We don't take anything from anybody. I don't know. Minneapolis, I'm very proud to be from here, and everybody's here as a community. Everybody refers to it as a small town in a way, so it's good to see everybody.
Absolutely. What was the message that you came to deliver tonight? And maybe a good place to start with that would be just your sign. What does your sign say?
Ice out. And they're going to be doing a large protest tomorrow at 1, too. So I'm sure you all know about that. I just don't want to relive history again. I came out to every single protest for the past, since George Floyd out here, and I'm getting tired of it. And you got to come out for the people that can't make it and can't speak out for themselves. And it's heartbreaking. And
you're referencing, you don't want to, you're living through history. Can you talk about how George Floyd's death, the resulting protest, how does that inform what is happening in Minneapolis now, today?
I think that we're a target. I think Minnesota's a target in a way. We're surrounded by unlike youth, I guess, from other states, if that makes sense. I think it's just out. I don't know how to. Sorry, I'm trying to think of it on the spot, but I think it's just we feel targeted. My community, once you hurt someone in our community, we all don't put up with it, and it's game over, kind of like.
Saying you feel targeted, your community feels targeted. Targeted for what? For the way for the leaders that you've elected, targeted for the color of the skin of the people who are here? When you say targeted, what are you referring to there?
I think it just goes back, everything can go back into history as systemic racism, how it's present in our communities, our schools, politics, policies, everything. It's present everywhere, and I just feel like the people here are, I don't know how to explain it, but they're just, I don't know. I feel like Minneapolis has always just been targeted. It gets bad, negative connotations, and it's just unfair. It's unfair to all the people that live here in Minnesota, everybody in the country.
President Trump, his administration have said that this deployment of ICE agents out here is meant to be about safety, about making communities safer. I'm not going to ask you if you feel safer when those same ICE agents are killing people, but what are some issues that, rather than spending billions of dollars on ICE, what are some programs that the federal government could instead put that money to that would directly benefit you or other people in your life? Like, what are the struggles that you're living with right now, that your friends and family are living with, that you'd like to see the federal government actually address?
Anything but this trip, honestly. That you can't afford groceries. A bag of groceries is $80. People can't find work. They don't get paid enough to work, and are afraid to come to work for these reasons. They could put money towards women's health, women's research health, putting money into our schools around here, putting money into mental health facilities, therapy, anything. But there's shit, to be honest with you. Anything. It's horrible. I don't know. I have expressed so many times how upset I am, and I just can't put it in everything.
No, I think you're doing great. And I just want to emphasize there, talking about access to jobs, affordable groceries. This was a president who ran on fixing inflation, who ran on improving the economy, supposedly the businessman president, meant to put this country's economy back together again. And what we've heard not only from Sierra, but from person after person that we have talked to out here and in other cities, is the continued economic suffering that so many are living through right now. Sierra, you came here to protest. I'm not going to hold you up any longer for doing that, other than to ask, is there anything else you would want to say while you had the platform?
Okay, so this is...
we are Nazi Germany. Everybody needs to wake the fuck up and get out and do what you can. Sitting at home isn't going to do anything, and I know it's scary to come out here. I know it's terrifying. It can be, you don't know what's going to be happening, but you can't just let it walk over you. This is our state. This is our country. And you can't let them come through. They're going to keep steamrolling unless you stop them.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the time. I'll let you get back to it. It is loud out here. You heard Sierra make reference to there's going to be a protest tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's a rally in March. We'll be broadcasting live from that demonstration as well. So if you want to be able to see, again, the action after action after action that the Twin Cities are putting on against the Trump administration right now in this moment as a way of pushing back against the continued ramp up of immigration enforcement efforts, of terrorizing their cities. Get subscribed, you get notified as soon as we go live with those reports, so you can see what those demonstrations are like on the ground. And I should also say one more time, if you're able, statuscoup.com/join, $5 a month, all it takes to keep us here on the ground, covering event after event after event out here. All right, I'm going to go look for more people for us to interview. Sean, if you just want to survey the crowd again.
Putting pressure on the local officials here. Man, for a good family or community member who has been like what has happened here in this area. The first step, let's be clear, is not guaranteeing that any sort of real justice is going to be carried out, but it is
I'd like to take you up on that offer.
Allison is asking
thank you.
Information on deadly items, and the public to send further video evidence of the shooting if they have it. What's your name? Sorry? The FBI collected Renee Nicole Good, not given. You're I'm thinking.
All right, I am standing here with Casa.
So this sorry, what?
Casa? Okay. Casa. Casa, thank you. Okay, that's what I was screwing up. So I'm standing here with Casa. Thank you very much for correcting me. Casa, I want to start with just the noisemaker of choice you brought along here with you. What'd you bring and why?
Well, it's the air horn. I was at the store and they said that this is really loud, so that's why I got it. Yeah.
And you wanted to make this noise to send a message. What's that message that you are sending here tonight?
I mean that we don't want ICE in Minnesota, that we don't want it in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities, that we don't want organizations in the Twin Cities supporting ICE, housing ICE.
We've seen the Trump administration try to paint the picture that anyone who's resisting ICE right now or speaking out against the administration is somehow a rioter, is somehow enacting violence. I just got to address that right off the cuff. Do you see any rioters here tonight? Did you come with any intentions of being violent?
No. I think the vast majority of people here don't want it to be violent. We're peaceful protesters. Everything that I've been to has been peaceful. We're just trying to look out for our neighbors and take a stand. I mean, we're doing what we can. What else can you do?
When you saw the video of Renee Good being killed by an ICE agent, just your initial reaction, what were the feelings that came up inside you when you see someone from your community, someone who could be a neighbor, being harmed like that, being gunned down by the federal government with your tax dollars? What was going through your mind?
I mean, at first it was sort of numbness, I think. Probably a lot of people that way, where I don't think it really hit me till the day after. I mean, my first thought, which is sort of a selfish one, I guess, but was of, like, my friends that live in that neighborhood who live, like, blocks away from that, who have been active parts of ICE watch teams out there. That could have been one of them.
We just today, the Trump administration, or not, I shouldn't say the Trump administration, but Alpha News released a new video, actually taken by the agent who fired the shots. First of all, have you seen that video? Yes. At the very end, after Agent Jonathan Ross fires and kills Renee Good, his first words are, and I apologize for the language, but they're fucking bitch. What's the message that you feel like is being sent there? What's the regard that you feel like ICE agents have for your community, your friends and neighbors?
I mean, it's not a hard question to answer, but it's like, that's not a way that you speak to anyone with respect, whether they've committed a crime or not, whether they're here illegally or not, whether they're a U.S. citizen or not. I mean, it seems pretty clear, using that language, that they've not been trained. They don't have a protocol. They're just sort of going rogue and doing whatever they want and saying whatever they want. Who are they held accountable to? I don't know.
Today we also heard that the state of Minnesota, from Attorney General Keith Ellison, that they are going to be launching their own investigation into the shooting, even though the FBI is going to withhold evidence from that local investigation. What's your hopes for what a truly independent investigation into the shooting, what it could achieve?
I don't know.
I guess a better question might be, like, what does justice to you look like? What would you hope would be the outcome of a truly independent investigation?
Well, I would hope that ICE officer would be arrested. Obviously, that he wouldn't be an ICE agent anymore. I don't know. I don't know what can exactly logistically come of an investigation like that, and out of like a positive outcome for the Twin Cities would obviously be that all ICE agents have to leave. I don't know if that's a realistic outcome of what would happen to this investigation or not, but I think that's what I would hope, and that's what everybody here would hope.
I think that's what probably a lot of people are feeling right now, or hoping for right now. When you look out at all of these people who have essentially come to say either the same thing or something very similar to the message that you came to deliver, what feelings are inside you to be surrounded by all these people standing up together and saying ICE out of Minnesota?
I mean, I think something that I've been feeling has just been the feeling of like, I'm just feeling of like there is some hope, and like Minnesota, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis specifically knows how to organize. We have these community networks already. People want to participate. It's like we've been set up for this from George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, and so it's I don't know. There's really a feeling of community, and like locally, just in Minneapolis as a whole, and then also locally within neighborhoods. I think there's a really strong feeling of like I'm a part of it. I can help out in my neighborhood, and I can help my neighbors.
You're out here with what was it called again? A bazooka air horn. You've got a bazooka air horn that I'm going to assume cost you a few bucks and a whistle. That's what you have to fight back against a federal government that has functionally limitless resources, billions upon billions of dollars, to continue to put pressure on Minnesota if they want.
Seeing the federal agents are moving.
Really what you have is your own spirit, your own drive to continue resistance, continue standing up. How long do you feel like you can continue to mount a resistance with this volume against the Trump administration?
How long do I think Minneapolis as a whole? I mean, I think as long as ICE is here, it's going to continue happening. I don't see a situation where ICE is still here and people don't.
Absolutely. The last piece that I want to end here is kind of jumping off of that. With those limitless resources, we're hearing reporting today that ICE could deploy, or the federal government is going to deploy as many as 1,000 more agents on top of the 2,000 they were already sending over the next month. When you hear that in response to shooting and killing someone, that they are only going to ramp up the pressure, what's the message being sent to Minneapolis? What are you hearing from your federal government right now?
That they're scared, I guess. I mean, that they think the 2,000 agents that they've sent already isn't enough. But I don't think they've sent 2,000 agents to any other cities in the U.S. Not to Chicago, certainly. I don't think to Portland, Oregon either. I mean, I think they notice the strength of our community and how much resistance they're seeing here. And I mean, they're calling for backup. They're scared, I think.
Kata, thank you very much for your time. Before I let you go, anything else you want to add while you have the platform?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
John, let's get out of the crowd for just a second. I want to just take a step back from the crowd for just a second. We can get him still in the background. Move around a little bit. I pulled John out of the crowd just now, just for my own sanity and for the safety of my own ears, because it is so loud in there. And like I said, we are standing only on the edge of this crowd, and you already hear the sound. I'm really hoping that you're hearing "fuck ICE." You're hearing "fuck ICE" from the people out here. One of many voices that you're hearing. Fuck. And I'll say, these young faces that you're seeing out here, we've seen young faces like that at protest after protest, largely young faces, people of color, coming out saying that they are scared about the future that awaits them, the country that they are being left to inherit, and are terrified that either they, their parents, their friends, their loved ones are going to be next. But I want to acknowledge something that Kata just said in that interview just now, which is that she feels that the news that 1,000 more agents, what we're hearing reports that 1,000 more agents are going to be sent, is that she sees that as a sign of weakness from the Trump administration, that they are inherently scared. Now note now the sound is dying down out here as some speakers are getting ready to speak. John, you want to try and get in there and let's hear from some of the speakers?
But the agents fired a cloud of pepper. Pardon me? Came in into her eyes.
These ICE agents that are staying in these rooms are leaving unsecured guns, loaded weapons in the rooms. The housekeepers are having to go in and clean rooms around loaded weapons that they're leaving unsecured. Thank you. Workers are terrified. Workers are staying home. Workers are not able to provide for their families because they're so scared to leave their homes. Our workforce is struggling. We're struggling. Our community is struggling. This agenda of mass deportation will have a profound impact on all of us.
Started firing pepper balls here at the crowd.
We must continue to take action.
You were
we must
just finished
continue to
talking
fight
about
for our
some of your
neighbors,
experience with
our allies,
militia to
our
see
community.
the federal government using
by
deadly
a
force
radical, hate-filled agenda.
in your community. I mean,
This is home for you. The government didn't send these folks to Republican constituencies. They sent them to Democrat-leading constituencies.
what's the message that's being sent there?
It's turning to public by design. And then
This is not just an immigrant and an allies issue. This is a core economic issue.
She's gaslighting us. This is absurd. It's psychotic.
Is this louder?
They're taking out rapists and gangsters. Well, it's funny because the president was actually found guilty, I believe, of rape.
This is not just an immigrant or ally issue. This is a core economic issue that impacts our workers. U.S. foreign workers and foreign-bound foreign workers.
Of what
impacts all
this is my idea. You're
and
just
all
making a
people.
fuss. They're
Abducting workers that keep airports, hotels, and restaurants open. We're making it hard for the businesses in our community to stay open and survive. Across the country, 17% of the workforce are foreign-born. In Minnesota, 11% of the workforce are foreign-born. That is 1 in 9 workers.
Why am I angry? I mean, you're in your car,
These
and
workers
you're trying to get out of there.
part of our community. This state and this country cannot run without our immigrant community. This campaign of mass terror is hurting us all. We must stand up. We must stand together. We must stand and fight
local
for our
authorities are going to
neighbors.
investigate the
we must fight
shooting.
for those who cannot fight for themselves.
Why is
at
that
this
important to
moment.
you?
We must not stand by while ICE is murdering people in our streets.
I'm standing here looking at the face of I'm watching communities get blood in the back
What
of
do we
his
do
car
when we're under
getting
attack?
sent off to jail.
What do we
And
do
that's okay.
when we
These
are
are the people
under
who
attack?
probably
Stand up,
More agents get out.
Stand up, fight back.
Targeting one of the protesters for arrest.
Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
Showing you this crowd right now. You have a better perspective on it than I do because John's able to lift that camera up over the crowd. I can't see the edge of this crowd right now. It is hundreds, if not thousands, outside of the canopy by Hilton to make their voices heard. Call for an end to murder of their neighbors.
Tonight, we are out here to cause problems for the hotels that are collaborating with ICE. And I'll say it again, When we do this, it works. We get these agents out of these hotels. Something else that is important to say tonight. We are out here in an act of mass non-cooperation. And mass non-cooperation works. In mass non-cooperation, we show how powerful we are. And what's important to remember tonight is that this disruptive action is also peaceful. We are a non-violent peaceful group tonight. Why are we non-violent? We don't encounter their life. We have power. We have power because of the numbers that we have. Look around. Look around. Look around. Make eye contact. Make eye contact with someone in the crowd right now. Look around. Make eye contact with a stranger. These are your neighbors. These are your comrades, and these are the people. This is why we're powerful. This is why we're powerful. So tonight, we'll be peaceful. We're going to be non-violent, and we're going to cause a fucking problem. And we're going to do, what do we want? Now, when do we want it?
You're feeling the effect of the pepper spray
What do we want?
When do we want it?
What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? What do we want? What do we want?
I want to take this moment to call out the fact that the cameras you're seeing here, through our camera, are largely independent journalists or just people here in the crowd. There were a lot of national outlets, a lot of corporate media that parachuted in here the day that Renee Good was killed. We've been on the ground here for weeks since the beginning of December to tell the story of what is happening here in the Twin Cities. This important on-the-ground journalism, lifting up the voices of these people, this loud majority of people who are out here to express their anger at the Trump administration for killing, victimizing their neighbors, is not something that you will see on corporate media, or if you will, it'll be a 12-second soundbite. We're going to be live out here for hours. The importance of supporting independent media in this time is absolute. It's the only way that we can get a truly independent voice, a people-centered voice in what is happening. I can't thank enough, we can't thank enough here at Status 2, the work of the Midas Touch Network in lifting up not only our outlet, but also the voices of all of these people that you see around here tonight. I worked in corporate news for a while. I worked as a corporate local journalist. And I can tell you right now what the coverage of this event will look like on the evening news tonight. It'll be 45 seconds. It'll be an anchor just reading over that there were some people who made noise outside of a Hilton. It'll feature one soundbite from somebody in this crowd, and it'll feature one soundbite from someone who says that they didn't like the noise, or it'll feature a quick blurb, some of the Trump administration's propaganda to make it quote-unquote both sides, as if these hundreds and thousands of voices are in any way equal to just what one person in the White House has to say. As if to suggest that that is what is happening here, is a 50-50 position. I hope it comes across through the camera. The power of this collective group of voices are expressing right now the energy that is in the air. And not only do we try and center the voices of people and people-powered movements here at Status Quo. We don't take corporate funding. None. We are sustained thanks to individual donations. It's individual people giving us a few dollars here, a few dollars there, $5 a month to sustain the efforts that our small but mighty team is able to do here at Status Quo. And I would put our journalism up against any other outlet with what we're able to do with that people-built power. So, because we are only beholden to you, our audience, you know that these voices that we're showcasing here tonight, what I'm saying on this microphone has nothing to do with what any advertiser wants me to say or deems acceptable. You see here a march now forming of these protesters, led by that pickup truck. Led by that pickup truck where we saw those speakers speaking off of the back of just a few moments ago. And we're now moving with this crowd as they take to the streets in downtown Minneapolis. We're moving up here to the front of this group so you can look back and again see the totality of this movement as they chant, "Fuck ICE."
We have to show up for show. We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I'm on off right now, but this is the last time I show up and say, you guys are not a weapon. There's no way. I got involved with another ball.
You're fully good.
I never raised a hand.
Behind you.
I never raised a hand. I've only been using my...
I'm just taking a moment here to ensure my cameraman is safe since he has to do everything I'm doing, except he's also monitoring a camera and walking backwards while doing